Picture this, a massive modern kingdom, but it has no rivers, not one. Rain is almost a special event. Now, what if I told you that same kingdom is planning to build one of the biggest water networks on the entire planet? Well, that's exactly what we're diving into. Saudi Arabia's incredible plan to create what's basically an artificial river right through the desert.
It really gets you thinking, right? Rivers are the lifeblood of so many civilizations. So what do you do when you just don't have any? How on earth do you support millions of people and huge modern cities in one of the absolute driest places in the world?
And when I say dry, I'm not kidding. A mind-blowing 98% of the country is desert. This isn't just a little water shortage. It's the fundamental reality they live with every single day, and it forces them to come up with some truly extraordinary ideas.
Now, here's where it gets really intense. You take that geography and you add an absolutely explosive population boom on top of it. We're talking from just 3 million people back in 1950 to more than 26 million today. You can imagine what that does to the demand for fresh water. It's just gone through the roof, pushing their resources right to the edge.
Okay, so with demand way bigger than supply, where did they get their water until now? Well, for decades, the answer was buried deep underground, a hidden stash of ancient water. But as they were about to find out, that solution came with a very firm expiration date.
Yeah, they were tapping into something called fossil water. And this is not your normal groundwater that gets refilled when it rains. Nope, this is a one-time resource. Water that got trapped underground millions of years ago, back when the climate was totally different. Once you use it, it's gone forever.
And boy, did they use it. Back in the 70s, there was this massive push to grow their own wheat, right there in the desert. It worked, but by 2003, farming was gulping down a crazy 85% of all their water. And by 2016, the bill came due. NASA satellites looked down and confirmed it. Those ancient water reserves were being drained at a totally unsustainable rate.
Honestly, this is the perfect way to describe it. Relying on fossil water is exactly like that. It's like you have this amazing phone with a battery that lasts for years, but you can't ever plug it in. Eventually, it's gonna die. They absolutely had to find a new plan.
So with their ancient battery about to run out, Saudi Arabia needed a new power source, a new solution. And what they came up with? Well, it sounds like something straight out of science fiction. A massive, man-made river network designed to run completely underground, all across the country.
The scale of this thing is just, it's hard to even wrap your head around it. We're talking about a 12,000-kilometer network of pipelines. Don't think of it as just one big pipe. It's more like a massive, interconnected web, a brand new circulatory system for the whole kingdom.
To really get what that number means, check this out. The Nile River, the longest natural river on the planet, is a little over 6,600 kilometers long. This man-made pipeline network is designed to be almost double that. It is just an unbelievable feat of engineering.
And here's the key thing to understand. This is about way more than just having water to drink. It's a massive strategic play for the country's future. The goals are huge. Support the people, sure, but also kickstart a sustainable farming industry. Stop relying so much on imported food, and this is a big one. Help move the entire economy away from oil. It's a huge piece of their Vision 2030 plan.
Okay, but wait a minute. If you're building a river but you don't have a natural water source, where does all the water actually come from? Well, the answer is in the seas right next door, and it relies on a technology that Saudi Arabia is now a world expert in: desalination.
The crazy thing is, desalination is already the absolute backbone of their water supply. It already provides about 2/3 of all their fresh water. This new river project is all about taking that to a whole new level, a scale nobody's ever really tried before. The main tech they use for this is called reverse osmosis. Now, that sounds super technical, but the idea is actually pretty straightforward. Basically, you take seawater, you put it under insane amounts of pressure, and you force it through this super fine filter. The filter is so small that only the water molecules can squeeze through, leaving all the salt and other gunk behind. What comes out the other side is pure, fresh water.
And the scale we're talking about here is just, wow. The goal is to produce 9.4 million cubic meters of fresh water every single day. That's enough water to fill almost 4,000 Olympic-sized swimming pools daily.
Making water on that kind of scale is without a doubt an incredible achievement. But it doesn't come for free. There's a real cost, both for the environment and in terms of energy, that you've got to factor in.
Which brings us to a really important question. Okay, so you've taken all the salt out of billions of liters of seawater. What happens to all that salt? I mean, it doesn't just vanish.
What you get is this super concentrated salty sludge called brine. And this project is estimated to produce about 329,000 tons of it every day. For some context, a blue whale, the biggest animal on Earth, weighs about 200 tons. So this is just a mountain of salt waste.
And you can't just dump all of that back into the ocean without causing some serious issues. Pumping that much brine into the sea can make the coastal water much saltier and warmer. It can create what scientists call dead zones, where nothing can live, and it's a huge threat to delicate ecosystems like the beautiful coral reefs in the Red Sea.
And then there's the energy cost. Just think about it. You've got to move all that water, sometimes uphill, for thousands of kilometers across a desert. The pumping stations alone are expected to use up 9% of the entire country's electricity. That is an enormous amount of power.
So when you put it all together, these incredible benefits on one side and these really serious challenges on the other, what are we supposed to make of it? Is this the future for a world running out of water, or is it a warning?
When you lay it all out like this, the trade-offs are crystal clear. You get water security, a shot at food independence, and a more diverse economy. But the price you pay is sky-high energy use, major marine pollution, and, of course, a financial cost that is just astronomical.
You know, what's so fascinating is the ambition behind it all. Think about the irony here. The country that literally has no natural rivers is about to host the World Water Forum in 2027. They're trying to frame themselves not as a country defined by a lack of water, but as a global pioneer in how to create it.
And really, that's the big question we're left with. As more and more parts of the world face their own water crises, is this kind of massive, high-tech engineering project a truly sustainable blueprint for the future? Or is it just a very expensive, temporary patch for a planet that's only getting hotter and drier? The answer to that is probably going to shape all of our futures.